A shooting in California last night left multiple people dead and many more injured. Find out the latest on the investigation. And the midterm elections were on Tuesday. But old technology slowed down the voting process.
It should have taken me an hour and a half, 2 hours to run, and it took me 6.
Find out what's being done to avoid these problems in 2020. And finally, one Midlands designer crafts his bow ties from something unconventional.
It's different, isn't it?
Discover the inspiration behind these unique accessories.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Antonio Stinson.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Katie Turner. Tragedy struck in Thousands Oaks, California last night. Another mass shooting.
Multiple Pepperdine University students were enjoying a night out at Borderline Bar and Grill last night when an armed gunman opened fire, killing 12 people and leaving 21 others injured. Authorities believe the suspected gunman is 28-year-old Ian David Long, a former Marine and war veteran. Among the casualties is Deputy Sergeant Ron Heelis of the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, who was killed while responding to the shooting.
He's absolutely a hero. He leaves behind a wife and a son. He was a 54-year-old resident of Moore Park, and he epitomized what a cop does. He's a cop's cop. When he heard the gunfire, he ran in and no doubt saved others from being victimized.
A procession for slain Deputy Sergeant Heelis took place this afternoon. And you want to send our thoughts and prayers.
Looks like we've got a little bit of rough weather heading our way. We've got Catherine outside the Kennedy Greenhouse studio for our first forecast. What kind of weather can we expect this weekend, Catherine?
Thanks, Katie. Well, right out here now, it's a little cloudy. We've had clouds most of the day, but next week we have some storms coming in, some rain, and some colder weather. So stay tuned, and I'll give you a full forecast coming up later in the show. Back to you in the studio.
South Carolina saw a record number of absentee ballots during this election cycle, but unfortunately, old equipment caused problems for the workers who counted them. Carolina News reporter Nick Proto has more on the outdated voting machines and much-needed upgrades.
We have to have an upgrade before we go into the 2020 presidential election cycle.
Part of that upgrade Roki Suleiman is talking about is a new absentee ballot counter. The current machine kept him counting votes until 5:30 in the morning.
So this is the current machine that's used to count the absentee ballots. If you push this tray down, you should be able to fit about 500 ballots on there. But Suleiman said that you can only fit about 50 to 75 on Tuesday, and even with that, it would jam 10 to 12 times, more than tripling the amount of time it would take to count the 7,000 absentee ballots.
The current machine could be a freshman in high school, as Richland County has been using it since 2004. And Suleiman says the technology is even older than that. Another issue during this election was people said the voting machine was flipping their vote. Suleiman says that was a calibration issue. It's not uncommon, but it is happening more often.
The calibration issues are not out of the ordinary. We're just seeing them with a higher frequency. And we're going to continue to see them in higher frequencies as the equipment ages.
Suleiman is hopeful the equipment won't age much longer, as he wants new machines by next November.
Well, the hope is to get new equipment. The hope is that the legislature will fund new equipment in the new budget next year.
New equipment that will hopefully cut down on problems and time. For Carolina News, I'm Nick Proto.
Suleiman said that the new voting equipment should take about 2 to 3 months to implement, as the county will have to train new employees and introduce the equipment to the public. South Carolina Representative Jim Clyburn easily won his re-election Tuesday, and with Democrats now taking control of the House, he is seeking another title. Representative Clyburn has announced his candidacy for Majority Whip for the United States House of Representatives. Clyburn previously served as Majority Whip from 2007 to 2011.
Georgia Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams is not conceding the governor's race just yet. Even though Brian Kemp has declared himself the winner, Abrams argues the contest is still too close to call and wants to wait for absentee ballots to be counted.
But I'm here tonight to tell you votes remain to be counted. There are voices that were waiting to be heard. Across our state, folks are opening up the dreams of voters in absentee ballots, and we believe our chance for a stronger Georgia is just within reach. But We cannot seize it until all voices are heard. And I promise you tonight, we're going to make sure that every vote is counted. Every single vote.
CNN has not projected a winner in the Georgia gubernatorial race, but the race has been plagued by voters' rights issues, and this election has seen the biggest turnout in over 10 years. In a breakup protocol, the White House has suspended the press pass of CNN's chief White House correspondent, Jim Acosta, until further notice. The move followed this tense exchange at a Wednesday press conference.
Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's enough.
Ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse me.
President,
That's enough.
Mr. President, I have one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask.
The White House Correspondents Association is publicly urging the White House to reverse its action as Acosta was denied any entrance into the White House.
Well, maybe I'll get inside the White House for one more live shot on your show, and at that point, I was simply blocked from entering the facility. As a matter of fact, there was an officer who stood in front of the doorway to the security booth.
In a statement, CNN said Acosta has the network's full support and is working to reinstate his White House credentials. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was admitted to George Washington University Hospital for observation this morning. The justice fractured 3 ribs after a fall Wednesday evening. According to the Supreme Court Public Information Officer, Ginsburg was in her office at the court when she fell. The 85-year-old has been a justice on the High Court since 1993.
This past week, America chose its next leaders, and now the University of South Carolina is starting its search for their new future leader. Carolina News reporter Larissa Oakley gives you an inside look at what goes into selecting a university president.
University of South Carolina President Dr. Harris Pastides announced he will be stepping down in July 2019.
That we intend to move on to a new chapter of our lives next summer.
This news comes after a decade of growth in the university, an increase in both size and minority graduation rates. And now the search is on for a new president. The Presidential Search Committee met here today in the Osborne Administration Building to decide how they're going to be moving forward with the candidate selection process. The board is comprised of many members, including representatives from the Board of Trustees, faculty, alumni, foundations, and the students. Student Government President Taylor Wright will be the voice of the students for this selection process.
When I ran, this is not, it's on the position description really, I didn't know this was going to happen. But I think it'll end up being one of the kind of the coolest things that I get to do as president.
According to the head chair, the possibilities are endless at the start of the search.
There's a huge pool out there of people that we don't even know exist yet, but we know they're out there. We're an attractive institution.
The topics discussed at the meeting were potential salary, media relations during the decision-making process, but importance of equal opportunity employment was stressed the most.
If you're going to make a decision to employ someone, you can't discriminate against that individual based on his or her race, sex, national origin, disability, religion.
The Black Faculty and Staff Association at USC launched a campaign in September called The Rest of Us to bring awareness of diversity in top administrative positions. The search committee itself only has 3 out of 11 members who are minorities. But the committee is agreed on making sure to keep the future of diversity for the school in mind while making this decision. For Carolina News, I'm Larissa Oakley.
The selection committee has its next meeting scheduled for the weekend of November 30th. They will be discussing the possibility of using a search firm to seek out potential candidates. And coming up next on Carolina News, Gamecock superfans, one Columbia designer has the accessory for you. Find out what makes these bow ties so unique up next. Welcome back to Carolina News. A company in China is launching the first foldable smartphone. It's called the FlexPay, and it was released by the Chinese company Royole. The phone starts as a tablet but can quickly transform into a smartphone by simply folding it. Because the phone has 2 screens, every photo feels like a selfie. Tech journalists who have tested the phone have said it's a little slow and bulky. So if you're interested in the FlexPay, you can pre-order the phone for around $1,300. Craftsmanship is a gift that keeps on giving for one local entrepreneur. Carolina News reporter Sabrina Shutters uncovered how one gift idea turned into a whole new spin on the classic gentleman's bow tie.
I might just capture a sunrise or be walking through the woods and see, reflection off the Spanish moss down into the brackish water down there, and then all of a sudden a new tie design pops in my mind.
Bow tie designs are something co-owner Ben Ross has been thinking about for 6 years for his Charleston accessory company, Brackish, the first company of its kind.
The idea came from a groomsman's gift 12 years ago. That I gave all my groomsmen a gift that they couldn't go buy. I wanted to give them something from the heart.
And behind every bow tie, a purpose.
Every time after the wedding, when they put it on, they would remember just how much I love them.
What makes these ties unique? They're made of feathers from 15 different bird species. But designer Ross says he can't take credit for all of the work.
We're repurposing the beauty of Mother Nature. It's her paintbrush that does all the hard work.
Ben here could not go and make all of these bow ties without making a Gamecock bow tie. Can you tell us a little bit about this bow tie?
Absolutely. This tie incorporates rooster and guinea feathers, and it is the second edition of the tie that is the flag for the Gamecocks. It yells, "Go Gamecocks," and I think Gamecock Nation is proud of the Gamecock Big Spur 2.0. We put everything we have in them. They mean the world to us. Anyone walking down the street wearing one, from a celebrity to somebody just like me, it's a surreal thing to see something that we've created be embraced by society.
And surreal it is.
Bill Murray, of course, wore the first one in 2014. He wore the peacock to the Oscars, and it just started a buzz.
The good news?
No bird is ever harmed for any brackish product or for us to ever obtain a feather.
And for Ross, the flight continues.
We're always looking for ways to make it better and improve on our craft. I think if you stop doing that, you stop doing yourself and your company justice.
Sabrina Shutters, Carolina News.
Ross says that Brackish produces nearly 30,000 bow ties a year, and they're not stopping anytime soon. Their bow ties range from $195 to a little over $300 for a custom bow tie.
CEO Elon Musk announced a new chairman of Tesla after he was forced to step down. Robin Denholm was named the new chairman of the electric car company. She is currently the chief financial officer of Australian telecommunications company Telstra. She is already a member of Tesla's board of directors and will start working there full-time after a 6-month notice period with Telstra is over. In other tech news, Ford is acquiring a scooter startup company called Spin. The company that invented the automobile is now investing in electronic scooters. Ford believes that these scooters will give Americans more transportation options in cities where parking is an issue. Spin scooters can only be found in 13 cities at the moment, but Ford plans to expand these scooters to more than 100 cities in the next 18 months. The South Carolina Gamecocks are having an up-and-down season. With a 5-3 record, it seems decent. But for an SEC school, people tend to expect much better. Reporter Chris Doby has more.
This catch is what felt like the start of a comeback. 2 weeks removed from a loss to Texas A&M, and down 21-9 in the first half to Tennessee, things seemed bleak. Then this happened. Jake Bentley got back up after being shaken up, and the team went on a run, beating Tennessee and going on to beat Ole Miss last Saturday. But bigger successes wanted by the fan base, according to 107.5 The Game's Tim Hill.
I think Gamecock fans are at a tough spot with Will Muschamp in year number 3. You saw 2 pretty good years. You're hoping to see that next step in year number 3. You haven't seen it.
And that step still might not be made. In Coach Will Muschamp's 3 seasons, he is 1-9 against ranked opponents, but he has 2 more chances this season. Even with wins against ranked Florida, Chattanooga, and Akron, that would put Carolina at 8 wins. But the wins that matter most are the ones that are against your most hated rival.
I don't know if I've ever seen a season that could change from a perception standpoint as much as this year could if Carolina were to beat Clemson.
But that's a tall task. Clemson has gotten better, and the past few years haven't been friendly to the Gamecocks. An 0-4 record against Clemson the last 4 years, and an average margin of defeat 24 doesn't look good for Carolina or Coach Muschamp. And Muschamp and the Gamecocks really need this one against Clemson because simply,
if the Gamecocks beat Clemson this year, everything changes.
For Carolina News, I'm Chris Doby.
The Gamecocks only need one more win to become bowl eligible. Our sports anchor Chris will have more on how the Gamecocks are trying to get their last win later in the show. Now let's see what the weather's going to be like in Gamecock country this weekend. Catherine?
All right, I'm still out here. We still got some clouds out here. Will it rain? Find out next after the break.
Welcome back to Carolina News. Pollution levels have become dangerous in India after the Hindu festival of Diwali. This pollution was mainly caused by the fireworks that are set off during Diwali celebrations. The Supreme Court placed a ban on pollution-causing firecrackers and only allowed eco-friendly firecrackers during the limited hours of 8 to 10 p.m. Certain areas of Delhi have seen the air quality index rise up to 999 as of this morning, the maximum level of pollution possible. But the air quality has improved since to very unhealthy, which is very typical for Delhi during this time of year due to its humid climate. I think we know a thing or two about humidity in the South, am I right?
Oh yeah, for sure, especially during this time of year, football season and everything like that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go see what the weather is with Catherine in the Greenhouse studio.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Antonio. All right, so today we've got a little bit cooler of a day, but with some pretty high humidity, as you can see. We have humidity at 84, which is pretty not okay for me, at least in my hair. We have temperatures at 67, so pretty good day. And we have winds northeast at 4 miles per hour. And on tonight's lows, looking ahead, we have Hilton Head at 66, Charleston at 63, and then we have Orangeburg, and then we have Aiken at 53 and Columbia at 54. So it won't be too bad tonight, but make sure you bring a jacket if you're going anywhere. And looking at tomorrow in Columbia we have 64, 67 in Orangeburg, 74 in Hilton Head, always a little hot down there, 73 in Charleston. And if you look over here, the record is 84. And I would not like that 20-degree difference here, let me just say. Looking ahead at our 5-day forecast, as I said, it is in fact going to rain this tomorrow, but thankfully not for the game on Saturday though. So on Saturday, even though the game's not here, but you know, we're all hanging out, it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 60, so not bad, but a low of 34. We're actually going into the low. We have another 36 degree over there, so make sure you have your jacket because it's getting pretty cold out here. And going on to Sunday, we have sunny and 56 and a low of 42, and then on Monday, we have rainy again, and Tuesday also rainy, but with 56 and 61, so not too bad. But we do have that 36 low on Tuesday, so make sure you bring your jacket. All right, back to you guys in the studio.
Sports is next on Carolina News, a big one tonight in Pittsburgh, and the Panthers prepared for the Steelers a little differently this week. Find out more after the break. Welcome back to Carolina News. We have Chris Dobie here with sports.
Yeah, Chris, we have this big game coming up against Florida. Tell us something about it.
Yeah, definitely a big win this week. And as I said earlier, the Gamecocks really need this one. And there's obvious reasons why. Again, the 1-9 record for Coach Muschamp against ranked teams is not a good indicator for a football coach. But it's also another redemption game for Muschamp as he coaches against his former team for the third time. The Florida Gators, coming off an embarrassing home loss to Missouri on homecoming, look forward to bounce back against the Gamecocks. But Coach Muschamp says Florida will be much improved.
You prepare from the tape as you watch it, and you get a good idea schematically of where you feel like and how they're going to attack you. Every week's a season.
Every week's a season. It's a little bit odd, but that's how they prepared. We'll see how they will fare this week in the Swamp. And we roll over from the NCAA to the NFL. The Carolina Panthers are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers under the lights tonight. It's prime time, and it's where Cam thrives. A la the Monday Night Football game against the Patriots in 2012. But Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell hater James Conner have been on a roll the past 4 weeks, and the Panthers are rolling too. But the short week changes things a little for the team.
And so to almost come out and practice normally would become a little redundant in terms of having guys put pads on and bump into each other, stuff like that. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to really attack the mental aspect of practice.
We'll see how that type of practice on a short week fares on the road at 8 tonight. And now to the ice. Last night, 2 greats of hockey put on a show, the grade 8 and Sidney Crosby. But Crosby struck first in the first period. You see here, he gets the pass and he's going to beat the goalie, Top Cheddar. Again, in the second period, we have Alex Ovechkin get the one-timer, and he's going to beat the goalie through the 5-hole. Now we have William Karlsson and Captain America streaking down the middle, and he's going to beat the goalie to the right side. The Caps are going to win this one 2-1. Now from the ice, we head to the basketball court, where King James and the Lakers take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Headband Braun was back, and it felt like 2011 a little bit. Here we go again. LeBron shaking off Andrew Wiggins early, and he's going to bang that home. The MVP pass, or the former MVP passes it to Kyle Kuzma, who beats the buzzer. Now we got Rajon Rondo to Kuzma, and he's going to bang that home and finish with 21 points, give him a comfortable lead. Derrick Rose, not going to make it. The Lakers are going to go on and win this one 114 or to 110. Now my favorite part of the sportscast, the play of the night. This one coming from Aaron Gordon. Let's take a look. Gordon streaking down the right side. He's getting the pass from DJ Augustine. Slams that one home. He's going mailman, posing midair. There he goes, looking all nice. Again, he's won dunk contests before. To do it mid-game is absolutely ridiculous. But the Magic did go on to lose this one, though. But that type of dunk is next level.
That was
Chris?
so cool. I love that.
Makes me want to play 2K right when I get off this newscast, man.
Oh, yeah, I would love to play some 2K right now. But I obviously can't jump like that. I would love to, but it's definitely not.
It's all right. It's okay.
I know.
It just wasn't meant to be. It's all right.
In my dreams, I can imagine myself doing that, but I
maybe
really
some of
doubt
that
it.
Space Jam powers or something like that.
Oh, great.
Still more to come on Carolina News. What attracts aliens? Researchers may have figured that out. See their big idea next. Finally tonight on Carolina News, lasers could attract aliens to Earth. Researchers at MIT have released a study that suggests the light from lasers could draw the attention of extraterrestrials. The laser would be focused through a telescope and pointed towards space, making the light strong enough to send out from the sun. They have compared this laser to how moths are attracted to a porch light. And while people have questioned this theory, researchers have said it's not impossible.
Here's my question. What happens if the aliens actually respond? Like, what are we going to do then?
Just make sure we watch plenty of movies, make sure we're prepared, you know.
I just don't know if we actually want this, so I'm being honest. Let's go ahead and see what the weather's like. Catherine, can you give us a little wrap up?
All right, certainly. We have pretty much to wrap up. We have rain, partly cloudy, sunny, rain, and rain. And don't forget your jacket because you're going to need it as it goes down to the 30s this week. And that's all I have for you today, so back to you in the studio.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for being with us.
See you on Monday. Have a great evening.